Thanks for being here and thanks for coming. So it's my great pleasure to open our Robert Street Doctoral Prize ceremony here. So this is one of my first really nice occasions here since I started a few weeks ago. So seeing fellow members of staff, students, postdocs, Allison here, our prize winner on Zoom in Italy with some nice birdsong in the back, very appropriate. So it's our 10-year anniversary of this prize. We have some of the previous prize winners here, which is also very nice to see. And yeah, so those of you that have followed the awardees' trajectories over the last years, you will have seen that they have gone to many excellent places in science all over the world. Some have gone into medicine, some have gone into economy. So this really attests to the quality of our PhD students. And we are very fortunate that we have a prize like this that we can award. So Allison, thanks very much for that and all that you've done for the school. And now without further ado, I'll hand over to Michael, who will say a few words about the history and then start with the prize giving. Thanks.
Thank you, Stefan. So let me begin by welcoming distinguished guests, colleagues and friends. It's of course a great pleasure to welcome you to the School of Physics and Astronomy for the presentation of the 2021 Robert Street Doctoral Prize in Physics. I'm sure you'll agree that after the last 2 difficult years, it's wonderful to have so many people back in person. As you recall, the last 2 years were presented virtually, which didn't really work out as well, especially when it came to the refreshments. I would like to start by acknowledging the people of the Kulin Nations on whose land we are gathered today. I pay my respects to their elders, past, present and emerging. The prize is named in honour of Professor Robert Street, AO, who passed away on the 4th of July 2013. This year marks the 10th anniversary of the award of the prize since its inception in 2012. It's also worth highlighting that in 2021 it marked the 60th anniversary of research and teaching in the then Department of Physics, now School of Physics and Astronomy. We are producing a commemorative booklet to mark the occasion, which lists the previous recipients and tells a little bit about what they've been up to since they've graduated. This booklet will be available online, and so shortly, I guess within the next few days, we'll have this available through our website. Once again, I'm extremely pleased to welcome Robert's daughter, Professor Allison Street AO, her partner John Barclay, and Nicholas, who's joining us from Western Australia. I'll ask Allison to make the presentation of the award to the 2021 recipient, Dr Nikhil Sarin, and we're recording today's proceedings, so we'll have a record that Allison and family will be able to look on. Of course, I'd like to particularly welcome Nikhil Sarin, this year's awardee, who's joining us by Zoom. And I originally, when I set this up, I thought he was going to be in Sweden, but he's now singing with the birds in Italy. So I'll say a little bit more about Nikhil in a little while. It's also a great pleasure to welcome Kay Morgan, the inaugural recipient 2012, and Frida Wertiger, who won the prize in 2016. It's just fantastic to see you both back. The Doctoral Prize in Physics is of course made possible through a generous bequest to the school by the late Professor Robert Street and his late wife Joan. From the outset, I'd like to thank the Street family for their incredible generosity. The occasion will proceed as follows. First, I want to provide some background on the late Professor Robert Street. I'll then read out the nomination for Dr Nikhil Sarin, and then I'll ask Professor Allison Street to present the award virtually to Nikhil. I understand, Nikhil, that you'll be visiting us later in the year, so perhaps we'll have an opportunity to present it to you physically. After that, I'll ask Nikhil to say a few words, and then there'll be some modest refreshments served at the other end of the room. Professor Robert Street, BSc, MSc, PhD, DSc, Honorary DSCs, Fellow of the Australian Academy, Fellow of the Australian Institute of Physics, Officer of the Order of Australia. Robert Street was born on the 16th of December 1920 in Wakefield in Yorkshire, United Kingdom. In 1941 he received a BSc Special from the University of London. Actually, he undertook the work in Bristol due to bombing of London at the time. He began his career during World War II working at the Air Defence Research and Development Establishment, conducting work on the absolute measurement of power, and this was associated with the development of radar. In 1944 and 1948 respectively, Robert received an MSc in the relatively new area of wave mechanics, followed by a PhD on the absolute measurement of power. At the end of the war, Robert was appointed as an assistant lecturer in physics at the University of Nottingham, and in 1954 he became a senior lecturer at Sheffield University. And of course, in 1960, Robert and his family moved to Australia to become the Foundation Professor of Physics at Monash University. In 1966, he earned a DSc from the University of London. In 1973, he was elected to the Australian Academy of Science. And in 1974, he was appointed as Director of the Research School of Physical Sciences at the Australian National University. From 1978 until his retirement, and I've got here retirement in inverted commas, his retirement in 1986, Robert was the Vice Chancellor of the University of Western Australia. But during this so-called retirement, Robert supervised 17 PhD students, published 125 refereed papers, including a paper in Nature, in areas encompassing a very wide range of studies in condensed matter, solid state, and material science. Multiple papers attracted 100 to 200 citations, and this is nothing to say about other outputs such as patents. So I think it's fair to say this is not bad going for a retiree. Professor Street has received numerous awards, including honorary DSCs, fellowships to the Australian Academy of Science and the Australian Institute of Physics. He was made an Officer of the Order of Australia in 1985 in recognition of his enormous contributions to Australian education and research. In 2011, we were fortunate to have Robert join us for the 50th anniversary of teaching and research in physics at Monash. We took Robert on a tour of the Australian synchrotron, and it was remarkable to see him interacting with the young scientists and asking probing questions. It was very clear that he relished being in an experimental facility. That's always my memory of him as a teacher. He often used to come and visit us in the laboratories and ask us, this is undergraduate laboratories, and ask us what we were doing and explain what we were doing. He loved being involved in experimental science. To quote from Robert, someone has said that this life in science is rather a childish existence. I think it is, and as soon as you lose the idea of wonder at very simple things happening to you, you may as well go and be a grumpy old man somewhere else. This is a very short overview of the career of Robert Street, known affectionately to staff and students simply as Bob. It does not do justice to a remarkable man and a stellar career. Bob was an inspiration to us at Monash in the 1960s and 1970s, and I hope this award named in his honour will be an inspiration to future generations of physicists at Monash. The online booklet has a more extensive biography of Professor Street, which is published in the Historical Records of Australian Science by CSIRO. It's published and it's been reprinted in the booklet with permission from CSIRO Publishing. Let me turn now to Professor Allison Street, AO. It's always my great pleasure to invite Robert's daughter Allison to make the award. Professor Allison Street was the head of hemostasis and thrombosis at the Alfred Hospital and Vice President Medical of the World Federation of Haemophilia. She's been actively involved in haemophilia on the international stage, being made an Officer of Australia, an Officer of the Order of Australia in 2005 for services to medicine. She's been a Chief Examiner for the College of Pathologists and has been actively involved in the College of Physicians. I'll shortly ask Allison to make the award of the 2021 Robert Street Doctoral Prize to our awardee, Dr Nikhil Sarin. Before asking Allison to present the award, let me just say a few words about Nikhil. Nikhil completed his Bachelor of Science with a major in astrophysics in 2016. He then proceeded to complete honours in 2017. He was awarded the Monash Astrophysics Prize for the top honours astrophysics student that year. He then pursued a PhD in astrophysics, the astrophysics of neutron stars, under the supervision of Associate Professor Paul Lasky. He completed his PhD in July 2021. The title of his PhD thesis was The Observational Signatures of Nascent Neutron Stars. Nikhil received outstanding examiners' reports, with examiners awarding exceptional marks across the assessment categories. One of his international examiners stated, "Of all the graduate theses I have read over the years, this one stands out as one of the absolute best for its breadth, depth, and clarity of writing." Research carried out during Nikhil's PhD resulted in 3 first-author publications and another 4 co-authored publications in high-impact journals such as Physical Review D, the Astrophysical Journal, Astrophysical Letters, monthly notices of the Royal Astronomical Society. Since he's graduated, he's produced another 7 papers since July 2021, and indeed has been nominated for 2 additional prizes, the Molly Holman Medal from Monash and the Charlene Hessler Prize Medal of the Astronomical Society of Australia. The outcome of these awards are pending. Nikhil's research explored the aftermath of the most energetic explosions in the universe, gamma-ray bursts. In particular, Dr. Sarin investigated whether some of these gamma-ray bursts produced a highly magnetic, rapidly rotating neutron star. Such neutron stars harbour the largest magnetic fields and the hottest and densest matter in the universe. See, astrophysicists like everything to be the hottest, the heaviest, the brightest. Most particularly, this provides a test bed for exploring matter under most extreme conditions. So using observations of gamma-ray bursts, Nikhil's thesis showed that newly born neutron stars spin down predominantly through gravitational wave emission, and he found tentative hints that these neutron stars are composed of freely moving deconfined quarks. Currently, Nikhil is a Nordita postdoctoral fellow at the Nordita Institute, which is associated with Stockholm University. He's currently leading research to improve our models of kilonova, gamma-ray bursts, and superluminous supernova. Again, lots of supers. Nikhil has also made outstanding contributions to teaching in school, including co-supervising undergraduate research projects. He's been involved in research activities, which of course have been very much limited over the last 2 years. Nonetheless, he's promoted his research to the wider public. It is therefore my great pleasure to ask Allison to award the 2021 Robert Street Doctoral Prize in Physics to Dr. Nikhil Sarin. Please join with me. I'm not sure how we'll do this. Perhaps if you hold it up to the...
Hold it up to the camera. Which way do I have to...
Camera's there.
This one. Aha. Ah. Nikhil, this is for you, and what it says is the Robert Street Doctoral Prize in Physics is awarded annually to the candidate who produces the best PhD thesis based on work carried out in the School of Physics and Astronomy at Monash University. 2021 prize is awarded to Dr. Nikhil Sarin. That's a very good thing to have done, wonderful career that you're embarking upon. And my father would have been very interested to have read your thesis. It sounds a really good one. It's signed by Stephen Meyer, and it's been our delight to meet you today, Stephen. All the very best of your endeavours with this department, and thank you again, Michael, for organising this. And if I could just say welcome again. It's a long time since we've been doing this, 10 years, and Kay and Frida are here. There's living examples of how you keep moving on after the award. We're delighted with the book that you have produced, thank you, Michael. It shows what has been achieved in this remarkable department with remarkable students who have gone on to do fantastic things. So keep the biggest and the best and the most super things going, Nikhil. That's what it's all about. Thank you very much and congratulations.
I now invite you, Nikhil, to say a few words.
Lots of things to say, but firstly, let me thank everyone for the award. And of course, thank you to Professor Allison Street and the Street family and the School of Physics and Astronomy for the award. The award, would not be possible without the amazing supervision of Paul Lasky and Greg Ashton. I'm not sure whether they're on Zoom land or in person, but thank you both. I would also like to thank several sort of academics who mentored me throughout my PhD at Monash and as a sort of a bigger center as part of Osgrav. In particular, I would like to thank Eric Thrain and Duncan Galloway, who mentored me particularly towards the end of my PhD. Of course, PhD students need a lot of support throughout, and especially during the pandemic, I was exceptionally grateful for the amazing support that my fellow PhD students themselves gave me for the banter and just the, amazing support, etc. So especially during the pandemic, that part was invaluable. And lastly, but absolutely not leastly, of course, I would like to thank my family who have supported me in their own unique ways throughout my life. And that's the biggest part of why I'm here today. And I wouldn't be here without them. Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for the award.
Thank you, Nikhil. So that concludes the formalities, and I'll invite you to join us for some refreshments afterwards. I can't offer you anything but virtual refreshments, Nikhil, but please stay online because I'm sure a few people would like to say hello to you. Your supervisor, Paul, is indeed here face to face for us, and he'll speak to you. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming.